Imagine a racing competition so brutally difficult that a single track took the world's best players 36 days to complete. A 16-floor tower. One tiny mistake sends you back to the bottom. 0 checkpoints. 220 plus hours of grinding. Over $32,000 in prize money, funded entirely by the community. Almost 10 million hours watched on Twitch. Tens of thousands of players attempted the track. Only 15 finished. This is Deep Dip 2. And this is Trackmania. So what makes this 20-year-old racing game inspire this kind of dedication? Let's find out. Starting with what Trackmania fundamentally is, because it's not like most racing games you may be familiar with. If you're coming from something like Forza Horizon or Gran Turismo, forget everything about car customization, tuning, upgrading your engine or unlocking faster vehicles. None of that exists here. If you're thinking Mario Kart, nope. No items, no shells, no banana peels, no random chaos. F1 or racing sims? No pit stops, no tire wear, no fuel management, no damage model, not even car-to-car collisions. Trackmania strips all of that away. Just you, your car, the track, zero RNG. Everyone drives the exact same vehicle with identical stats. There are no upgrades to unlock, no tuning, no advantage from playing longer or paying more. The only thing that matters is your skill. The developers call this the purest expression of solo competition. You're not racing against other players in real time. You're racing against time itself, against the clock, against your own personal best. And what's awesome, it doesn't matter if you're playing on keyboard, controller, or a full steering wheel setup. There are professional players using all three. The game is designed from the ground up to be fair regardless of your input device. The controls are simple, just 4 arrow keys if you're on keyboard. Accelerate, brake, left, right. That's it. You can pick it up in minutes, but mastering it, that's a lifetime journey. The physics system is completely deterministic, which means every single run is perfectly reproducible. If you nail a corner, you can nail it again. If you mess up, you can figure out exactly what you did wrong. Unlike racing sims, where you're fighting realistic physics and car behavior, Trackmania has arcade physics, but consistent arcade physics. It's not trying to simulate real racing. It's trying to create the perfect competitive time trial challenge. And if you're used to manual gearboxes with shifting at the right time, this is also not a thing in Trackmania. The gearbox is automatic, but very particular. Knowing how it works and adjusting your driving accordingly is a skill in and of itself. This creates this incredible skill ceiling where beginners can have fun right away, but pros are still discovering new techniques 20 years later. In these 20 years, there have been multiple iterations in the Trackmania franchise. The types of cars and aesthetics may have changed, but the core foundation has stayed the same. The newest game in the franchise, just called Trackmania, came out in 2020 and is still going strong, getting very regular and big updates. Now, how does a game with this simple approach and controls stay fresh for 2 decades? 2 words: surfaces and blocks. Trackmania has multiple driving surfaces, and each one completely changes how your car handles. Tech surfaces, your standard asphalt, are all about tight cornering and technical precision. This is where you learn sliding or drifting and other advanced techniques. Dirt and grass are slippery and require totally different gear management. You also need to learn no-slide techniques to maintain speed. Ice is exactly what it sounds like. Almost zero grip with sideways sliding, bobsleigh style sections and a completely unique set of physics. Ice players are almost playing a different game. Then you've got wood, plastic blocks with special properties, and even underwater sections with their own physics. But it's not just surfaces. Trackmania has thousands of building blocks and items available to creators. There are effect blocks that change gameplay on the fly, slow motion zones, speed boosters, blocks that disable your steering or your acceleration, reactor boosts that let you literally fly, and wall ride sections, loops, and every crazy jump you can imagine. And you can combine all of these. Ice section into a dirt turn, into a booster, into a tight wood turn? Sure, why not? The combinations are literally endless. And this brings us to maybe the most important feature. Everyone can build new tracks. Trackmania has a built-in track editor that's available to everyone, even free players get access. And it's not some complicated modding tool, it's intuitive drag-and-drop real-time building. You place blocks, you test it instantly, you refine it, you share it. This has created an absolutely massive community library. We're talking over 250,000 community-created tracks available right now. There's a central hub called Trackmania Exchange where creators share their work. There's a daily track of the day featuring the best community maps in-game. There are weekly shorts with specific style challenges. Every 3 months there's a new seasonal campaign with 25 official tracks. But the community tracks, those never stop coming. And to be honest, a lot of these community tracks are better than what the developers make. The community pushes boundaries in ways that surprise even Nadeo, the developers. This isn't just a game with user-generated content. This is a game powered by user-generated content. And because anyone can build, the community has invented entirely new styles of racing that the developers never even imagined. Let's break down some of the major styles. Tech, this is your classic Trackmania. Technical cornering, precision sliding, tight control. Most competitive events use tech-style tracks. Then there's full speed. You press the gas and you don't let go until you cross the finish line. Ludicrous speeds, loops, wall rides, massive jumps, and if you crash once, your run is over. It's relentless. Then there's ice. Specialized tracks using the ice physics. Completely different techniques, completely different challenge. In mixed, you combine these different surfaces and styles. A bit of everything. But then the community got creative. There are RPG tracks. These are sometimes story-driven, precision platform challenges. Imagine using a racing game car to navigate tight ledges, puzzle sections and jumps. These can take hours to complete instead of minutes. Then there's Trial. Take RPG and make it even harder. Platform hell. You might respawn hundreds of times just to reach the first checkpoint. Then there's Pathfinding. Tracks with hidden shortcuts and alternate routes. The challenge isn't just driving fast, it's finding the fastest route. And then there's even something called Press Forward. Tracks where you literally just hold the forward key and the track does all the work. It's pure spectacle. And there are more. Kaki maps, puzzle, LOL tracks, the list goes on. The current Trackmania Games 2026 tournament, which is happening literally right now, features 11 different disciplines. From tech solo and team to mixed, ice, full speed, fast learn, RPG, trial, pathfinding and mapping. Yeah, mapping. There's a competitive discipline for track creation itself. That's how deep the rabbit hole goes. Speaking of competition, 2026 is a massive year for Trackmania Esports. First, there's the Esports World Cup in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia this August. 32 players will compete in Trackmania for a share of the $500,000 prize pool. This is Trackmania's debut at EWC and it's huge. Then in November, there's the Esports Nations Cup, another $250,000 prize pool where players compete for their countries. And as I mentioned, the Trackmania games are happening right now. 67 teams representing their nations across those 11 different disciplines. It's basically the Trackmania Olympics. What's cool about Trackmania Esports going forwards is that the qualification is accessible. For both EWC and ENC, you can qualify directly through the game. There's a system called the Elite Cup. 10 weekly competitions on the 5 most difficult campaign tracks during the winter and spring seasons. Set good times, earn points, and the top players qualify. No invites, no teams required, just you, the game, and your skill. And alongside these official tournaments, there are massive community-run events. Zerator's Trackmania Cup, Bog Cup, dozens of smaller tournaments almost every week. The ecosystem is thriving. But now let's talk about Deep Dip, because this is where the community really showed what makes Trackmania special. Deep Dip 1 dropped in November 2022. It was a 15-floor tower built by 15 different map makers. The twist? 0 checkpoints. If you make a mistake, you might fall all the way back down. This was inspired by Getting Over It with Bennett Foddy, the game where you're a guy in a pot climbing a mountain with a hammer. Same concept, same frustrations, same achievement if you manage to get to the top. The prize pool was $1,100. It took 6 days for the first player to finish. That player was Bren, a Trackmania pro. Virtual, the biggest Trackmania content creator, finished second. The event was a massive success. Viewership exploded. Everyone in the community was watching. So naturally, they made a sequel. Deep Dip 2 launched in May 2024 and they cranked everything up. 16 floors, 1900 meters tall. Spiral design, so when you fall harder. And of course, still 0 checkpoints. The prize pool? Over $32,000. Entirely community funded. That's more than some official championships. The map released on the 3rd of May 2024. The best players in the world started grinding immediately. Days passed, then weeks. Players were reaching higher and higher floors, but nobody could finish. The difficulty scaling was insane. Then, 36 days after release, on June 8th, Bren did it. 220 plus hours of trying. Thousands of attempts. His winning run alone took over an hour to complete without a single major mistake. The moment he crossed the finish line, the community went absolutely crazy. And then, only 2.5 hours later, Elcon also finished, securing second place. 3 days after that, Hazard claimed third. Tens of thousands of players attempted Deep Dip 2. Only 15 managed to finish it, even now, 1.5 years later. The impact of the Deep Dip 2 event on Twitch was absurd. 9.94 million hours watched during the event, and over 500% increase in Trackmania viewership. Virtual streaming his attempts peaked at almost 40,000 viewers. There was even a special plugin developed that tracked every player's current height in real time. You could watch the leaderboard update live, see who was climbing, who was falling. The drama was incredible. Watching someone at floor 15 one jump away from floor 16 and then watching them fall all the way back down, it was heartbreaking and captivating. This wasn't just a map, this was an event, a community moment that brought everyone together. And that's Trackmania in a nutshell. The community creates, the players compete, and everyone watches together. And speaking of watching, let's talk about the creators who make this possible. Virtual is the face of Trackmania content. 1.19 million subscribers on YouTube, 570,000 Twitch followers. He makes documentary-style videos about the game's history, breaks down legendary records, and streams his own attempts at the hardest challenges. He's won Best Speedrun Streamer at the Streamer Awards. He founded an esports organization called Jetlag Racing. When Deep Dip 2 happened, everyone was watching his stream. Then there's Zerator, a French streaming legend who organizes the ZRT Trackmania Cup, one of the biggest community tournaments. He's been instrumental in building the really big French Trackmania scene. And there are dozens, if not hundreds more. Bren, who's both a top player and content creator. Carl Jr., the multiple times world champion, called the GOAT by some. Spammy, and countless more, making videos, track showcases, competition coverage, and more. This creator ecosystem is what keeps the game alive. They teach new players, they celebrate the best moments, they keep the hype going. Now you might be wondering, how much does all this cost? Trackmania uses a pretty unique model. The base game, called Starter Access, is completely free. You get access to 10 campaign tracks per season, plus weekly shorts and ranked multiplayer modes, plus the arcade channel where you can play community tracks. And you get to build your own tracks as well. If you want the full experience, there's Club Access for $19.99 per year. That gets you all 25 campaign tracks per season, access to all past official tracks, the daily track of the day, and the ability to join and create clubs. Compare that to most racing games, which charge $60 to $70 upfront, plus DLC, plus microtransactions. Yeah, I think Trackmania is pretty generous. By the way, Trackmania used to be only on PC for the longest time, but since 2023, Trackmania is also on consoles. And remember, you can play with keyboard, controller, or steering wheel. There are pro players using all three. The game doesn't force you to buy expensive hardware to compete. But let's talk about what keeps people playing for thousands of hours. Trackmania has an absolutely insane skill ceiling. At the surface level, you're just driving a car. But dig deeper and there are techniques like sliding or drifting to preserve momentum through corners, gear management to preserve speed, ice slides, air braking to control your trajectory mid-flight, wall riding, speed slides, neo slides, transitional driving between different block types, and even something called the bug slide, using unintended physics to slide around a corner at high speeds. Some of these techniques weren't discovered until years after the game came out. The meta is still evolving somewhat. And the progression system keeps you hooked. Every track has bronze, silver, gold, and author medal times. The author medal is the track maker's validation time. Most of the time it's tough for new players but achievable on official tracks. It can get almost impossible for most on some user-made tracks though. Then there are global and regional leaderboards, trophy collection, prestige car skins to unlock through achievements. Every time you play, you race against your own ghost from your previous best run. You're always competing against yourself, trying to shave off just a few more milliseconds. And you can try to beat the fastest player on the leaderboard as well. Your choice. And that's the beauty of it. Beginners can jump in and have fun immediately. But pros are still grinding after thousands of hours because there's always something to improve. So why has the Trackmania franchise lasted 20 years? Why is it still growing? Here's what I think. The formula is pure. No pay to win, no random elements, no gimmicks, just raw skill and creativity. The community drives innovation. The developers don't have to make all the content. The players do. And the players are incredible at it. The seasonal model keeps it fresh. Every 3 months, new official tracks. Every day, new track of the day. Every week, new tracks or community events. The time trial approach eliminates toxicity. You're not racing against other players on track. You're racing against time. There's no one to blame but yourself. The community is genuinely one of the most respectful in competitive gaming. Anyone can contribute. You can be a fast driver. You can be a creative track maker, an event organizer, or a content creator. There's a role for everyone. And most importantly, it rewards dedication. The satisfaction of finally getting that author medal you've been chasing for days, the feeling of watching your name climb the leaderboard, the moment when a technique you've been practicing for weeks finally clicks. That's Trackmania. It's not just a racing game. It's a creative ecosystem. It's a competitive playground. It's a community of people who love the pure challenge of going fast. From 16 floor towers that take 36 days to climb, to $500,000 esports tournaments, to 250,000 plus community-made tracks, to a content creator scene that breaks viewership records. Trackmania is special because it gives players the tools and the freedom to create something bigger than what any single developer studio could build. 20 years in and it's still going strong. If you've never played Trackmania, the starter access is free. Download it, try it, you might just fall in love. And if you've been playing for years, let us know in the comments what your first Trackmania was. If you enjoyed this deep dive into what I think makes Trackmania so special, leave a like and subscribe to my new channel HD Arcade, dedicated to racing games like Trackmania. I'm on my journey to finally learn to drive Trackmania properly myself. Come along if you'd like. Have an awesome day. I've been HD. See you in the next one.